and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm Anna Green, and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and training on network marketing done right. Thank you for listening. Hello, and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm so excited to have a guest with me today. It's Sarah. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. So thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Sarah Ridge. I am a qualified menopause wellness practitioner, but I'm also the founder and CEO of the Sisterhood Networking Group. I have a long and glorified history in direct sales. So it was the first job that I went back into after having my children. So I had a 3-year-old and a baby, a 6-month-old. And I had just had my kitchen refurbished. And I'd gone from like literally no kitchen and no cupboards to this beautiful kitchen with lots of cupboards. And I went to an event and there was a Jamie at Home stand there. If everybody remembers Jamie at Home, Jamie Oliver's wife back in the day. And everything that was on that table matched my new kitchen. It was just put in front of me to go, come in, come and have all the nice kitchen stuff. And I think I was ready then because my son was 6 months old. I think I was desperate to find a little bit of me again. And it became my social life. I threw myself into it. I'd never done direct sales before. As I said, loved the products. They were just beautifully made at that point, reasonably priced, and never done party plan before. But I have a background in performing arts. And when I went to my parties, it was like I was becoming a different persona. So I would put on my party plan hat and become Sarah, the party plan person. So really enjoyed being out. I mean, literally, my poor husband would come home from work. I'd be holding the baby, like literally, like hands in front of me, and go, "He's all yours. I'm off out." And pass the baby over, pack up my boot, off I went. I was doing. At its peak, I was doing a couple of parties a week because it became very popular around my area. But I have to say, and then I kind of moved from a couple of other different companies after Jamie at Home. Sadly, was no more, which was a real shame. Hopped around to a couple of different companies, but I can't tell you how grateful I am for the training. The work ethic that everybody that I came into contact with had, the passion that they had for this business model that I'd never come across before. We were encouraged to go along to training sessions, and I did. I was literally like a sponge, just wanting to soak it all up and find out the best way to go about it. Because as you know, Anna, there are right ways and wrong ways for sure. To be going about the direct sales side of things, and it is different, and it is something that you have to learn. It's a skill, I think.
Absolutely, and it takes time.
It does take time. It does, and I was in a downline with some amazing women who had been quite high up in Pampered Chef. So they really knew their stuff. They really knew what they were doing. And yeah, like I said, I soaked it all up. I learned so much. And whilst I was being introduced to direct sales, I then discovered networking and how much that helped move my businesses forward. And it's kind of obviously led to me being where I am now. But I love networking so much. And I love a mixture of it now, because back when I first started in direct sales, online networking wasn't really a thing.
Oh no, good grief, no. Online.
No. Online, yeah, exactly. We didn't even. I mean, that you had to dial in for the internet, and it made that weird sound. Do you remember that? That was.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, do you know what? I don't.
Dial up.
I probably started a similar time to you, or maybe just after, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And running a business online was not a thing.
No.
I mean, I've come from back in the day where you put your orders online or you sent them via a fax machine to the head office. It was that far ago.
Or put things in the post to people. I mean, how out there is that now? Yes.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but Yes, so online I do a mixture of both now, and there's a place for both, I think. But I am quite passionate about in-person networking now that obviously the world is back to normal. We can actually be in one another's company again. I'm finding people are craving that in-person connection more and more, and I think as women, we crave that in-person connection. When you're
that community.
definitely feeling part of something, making those connections. But yeah, when I first got involved in networking, it was so scary, so scary. And I think a lot of people will have that perception that you have to walk into a room full of strangers that you've never met before and share your passion, your business with them in a way, in the right way, that allows you to make those connections. And but I'm here to say it doesn't have to be scary. I would say find a meeting that suits you. And I've tried them all on for size, and I've
Me too.
participated. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the majority of women that run their own businesses have probably dipped their toe into in-person networking in some way, shape, or form. So the Sisterhood is all about connection and support. It's all about just sharing your passion with the ladies around the table. I don't do scary speeches. I don't do timed speeches. If there is enough time, you can talk for as long as you want to about whatever you want to. So and I think there will be a meeting, hopefully, and if there's not, there might be a Sisterhood one coming your way soon, whereby you can walk through that door not knowing anybody, possibly feeling a little bit nervous, but then by the time you come to the end of the 2-hour meeting, you'll have made some lovely new friends. Your fears will have been laid to rest, and hopefully you'll come back and be a regular visitor. So I would encourage everybody to seek out a meeting that makes them feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So right back to the basics, okay? For those people who have never heard of networking meetings before, what on earth are they?
That's really funny, isn't it? Because you assume that everybody would know
Yeah.
exactly what a networking meeting is. But so no, for those of you that have never heard of it, never been to one, as I've said, you will find that there'll be a number of different meetings probably open in your area. Some require a membership, some you can just turn up, pay as you go. And they vary in structure, as I've said. So some are more formal and serious, and some are more relaxed and informal. They normally last for 2 hours, I find. Traditionally, you have a guest speaker, so someone will have been given a slightly longer slot to do a presentation or share a product with the people that are there. I had a financial planner do a quiz, a pensions quiz with us at my meeting.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we love the fun stuff. The fun stuff is really good. Anything that can engage people, get people's attention, and make you memorable is always good. So it lasts for 2 hours, guest speaker at some point during the meeting, and then we all always try and pass business cards around, or if you've got leaflets or anything, any kind of info that you want to share with the people that are there so they can take it away and have a little read, or have your business card for reference when they go home. And then I call it going around the table. So it will be introductions from every single person that's there in my format, in whatever way suits you best. If you literally just want to say, hi, my name's Sarah, I'm the founder of the Sisterhood Networking Group, thank you very much, goodbye, then that's fine. Because some people, although actually I find in my experience, because it is a much more relaxed format with me, people do feel quite comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
Sometimes sharing too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to go, right, you've been talking for 20 minutes now, and we need to move on to somebody else. No, I'm kidding. If I've got the time, I will let you speak for as long as you want. But in that time that you have to share what you do, I would have a little think about it before you go to a meeting. If you've never been before, chances are, yeah, you will be a little bit nervous. It's inevitable because you're trying something new. So there's nothing wrong with being nervous. We just have to channel those nerves in the right way. But give some thought to what it is that you want to share with the people around that table. Yeah, so be prepared. You will, at my meetings, like I've said, you will have longer than a minute. Sometimes you might just have a minute to share what you do. So think about what you want to get across in those 60 seconds, or however long you've got. I would always try and vary it slightly, because if you're going to become a regular visitor, you don't want to keep churning out the same thing every time you go. So I advise that first time that you're meeting everybody, obviously tell people your name, what you do, why you're doing what you're doing, what brought you to the doors of whatever company it is that you're a part of. But then for meetings to follow, you could think of different ways to share your passion for your business. So I encourage people to use testimonials. So if you've got happy customers, if you've not yet got testimonials, highly recommend that you do. So go with a couple of testimonials, share those with the people around the table. If you sell products, bring a product and demonstrate the product. I'm quite happy to have that happening around the table, even if you're not a guest speaker. Pass products around for everybody to try a little bit, smell something. If you're selling skincare products, have a little try of the moisturizer. Try and think. I hate this saying because it's so corporate, but I'm going to say it anyway.
You're going to say outside the box, aren't you?
I hate it so much. It's such a hideous. It reminds me of I did briefly go into the corporate world very briefly. It was a mad moment. I don't know what I was thinking. Thinking outside the box. But try and you want to make yourself stand out. You want to make yourself be memorable. You want people to go away going, oh, that lady from Tropic, she was amazing. I'm really intrigued to find out more about her and what she does. And again, this will be another one of your favorite sayings, I'm sure, Anna. The fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah.
You say that? I bet you say that. That's another one of my favorite sayings. So if after the meeting is finished, so you'll go around the table, you'll do introductions. I normally find that brings us to the end of the meeting. With mine, it depends how many people are there. You might have a little bit of time at the end to possibly have an extra bit of maybe business surgery or business boot camp, I call it. So if anybody's got any issues or I want some advice in regards to something, then I allow that at the end for whatever time we've got left. I always say the most important part of the meeting actually happens once you leave, because you'll have met all those amazing women. You'll sit around, you'll be admiring all these fantastic businesses. And then what you want to do once you've left that meeting, or after the meeting is finished, if there's someone you want to grab, just, go up to them and say, hi, it was so nice to meet you. I'd really love to know more about you and your business. Would you like to maybe get a coffee with me one day or have lunch with me one day? And you'll find most of the time, in fact, I don't think anyone has ever turned around to me and gone, no, actually, I wouldn't like to do that. That sounds awful. No one has ever said, no, I wouldn't like to meet up with you. If you don't feel comfortable doing it in person, make sure you've got those all the details from everybody that was there. Head home, let the dust settle a little bit, and then maybe the following day just send a really friendly message around saying how nice it was to meet you, and if you'd be interested in connecting, I would love to connect with you. If you'd like to meet for coffee one day, that would be great. So they would be all of my recommendations, and that kind of gives you a bit of an overview of how networking works. So I hope that's helpful for anybody that maybe is either has been scared to even contemplate it, or it has never even heard the word networking meeting before and wants to know how it all plays out. There you go.
Yeah, so I built a huge customer base and built massive relationships and had huge collaborations with people from years of networking with various different types of networking meetings. Some really quite formal, which I loved because it gave structure and purpose, and then some with what I would probably call more breakfast clubs, where you just sit with a group of people and you just chat. So there's a place for everything, and it depends what you like, doesn't it? It's
yes, absolutely.
It's what suits you and your personality and the way you like to meet people. Sometimes the structure will give that dedicated space or that dedicated path to follow to build relationships. Sometimes, if you are quite confident and you are just happy talking to anybody and everybody in a room full of people, then the more, informal breakfast style, let's just all get together and have a chat style ones might work better. So there is something for everybody.
Definitely.
But I think the most important thing when it comes to business networking that people have to remember that you don't go there to sell, because everybody is there to sell. Nobody goes to networking to buy.
Yeah.
Very rarely. I would have to say. It's about that building of relationships
Yeah.
and that connection and
Yeah.
that like, know, and trust, just like you said, to then sell through the room or solve people's problems in that room when they've got to know who you are and what you do.
Exactly. Yeah. Building a referral network. That's really
Yeah.
powerful at the back of networking is and that's why I encourage, I always make sure I say at the end of my meetings, make sure you connect with one another outside of the meeting, because what you want to do, and also this is another top tip, go regularly. Don't just
Yeah.
be a one-time drop in, or go once, then not go for a couple of months, then come back. Because again, it's developing those relationships. If you only show up infrequently, people just won't remember you. They won't go away and go, if someone says, oh God, my skincare routine really needs sorting out. I hate the products that I'm using at the moment. I really want to find something new. No one's going to remember you if you've only been along once and then you didn't come for like another 3 months. So and I'm using skincare a lot as an example just because it just automatically pops in my head, but whatever product or service it is that you sell, it could be anything. So you could be having a conversation with someone outside of a meeting where someone is asked that they have a problem that needs solving, and you have just the person that you can recommend. And chances are it will be somebody that you've met networking either in person or online, and they will be top of mind because you see them regularly. You've built that relationship. You trust them. Maybe you already use their products or services yourself, and you feel comfortable recommending them to others. And that's the power of networking. That's what it's all about, and that's what you want to try and create, really. And it's nice to be able to say, oh, I've got just the person for you. So and so is brilliant at whatever it is that she does. Here, let me give you her number, or I'll connect you to. Yeah, it's a lovely way to do business. I mean, a lot of the ladies that come to my meetings, I didn't know before I started the Sisterhood. They were complete strangers to me, and now they're some of my best friends. So, and it can be quite lonely being in business on your own. We do spend a lot of time, surgically attached to our phones, or, sitting at home, working through admin or emails, or, I can go an entire day without seeing an adult or having an adult conversation. So it is an extension of your social life as well. If you feel that way, potentially, then the meetings should be something that you look forward to going to. I never see them as a chore. I always look forward to all of mine for all of those reasons. So as you can tell, I'm quite a fan.
So what is the biggest thing you can think of that you've got out of business networking?
Oh, everything I've just said, really. There's not necessarily one. Well, I suppose my business, because I set up the Sisterhood Networking Group after having hosted for a couple of other companies that offered networking. So I'd set up a local branch for other people. And then unfortunately the pandemic hit. Obviously all the in-person networking had to stop. And the previous company that I was involved with, the format changed and it just didn't align with what I needed or wanted anymore. So we called time on it and parted company. And then I said to my husband, I really want to start networking again. I really miss it. And I said, oh, I'm just going to see what's out there, see what I could get involved with. And he went, just start your own one. And he said that to me before with the previous one, and I couldn't do it. The old imposter syndrome crept in. I was doubting myself. Now I felt that people wouldn't come if it was my meeting. They were coming because it was a name that belonged to somebody else, but I was hosting, and I felt comfortable with that. So it took some time for me to get comfy with people will come even and when it's my meeting and not just me hosting. So he said, yeah, just keep it low key. Don't go off out the gate at 100 miles an hour. He said, just get a few people together, go to the pub, go and have a chat about what you all do, and just see where it takes you. And that's exactly what I did. I did actually follow my husband's advice for one and only time in my life, I think. So my husband is he's a great sounding board. He's my voice of reason. So he said, just don't overthink it. Go along with your friends, go to the pub, and just see how things go. And Yeah, I'm pleased to say 12 lovely ladies came along. Didn't have a name at that point. And I very quickly realized that that one meeting had potential to grow into more meetings. So we went from 1 to 3 daytime meetings in 3 different local areas, then added 2 evening meetings in as well, because people were asking, I can't make daytimes, because funnily enough, we're all doing our jobs during the day. This is the thing about networking, is I thought actually it makes perfect sense to put an evening meeting in for people if they're asking for it. My children are older now. I've got one at university, one who's about to turn 16, who spends most of his time in his bedroom or playing basketball. So my services are no longer required in the mothering department, really. So it made sense for me. And again, it's an extension of my social life. I really look forward to going and seeing all my ladies. So we added in the evening meetings, and then we got to, we'd been up and running for about a year. And I think I knew from quite early on that it had the potential to grow bigger than just me, because I knew that everybody loved the format of it. Everyone was talking very positively about it. I was getting some lovely feedback. The name itself now belongs to me. So the Sisterhood Networking Group, a friend, and I've trademarked that. So the name, yeah, it belongs to me now, which is reassuring. But also, you know, if you're going to franchise, you want to protect that name so that you're not going to have any issues as you start to grow. So yeah, and then I did a franchising course, which kind of cemented everything, really. And it was on my to-do list, but that course kind of brought that forward a lot quicker than I was anticipating. So I now have 2 franchisees on board. I'm in Essex, so one's in West Essex, and then I've got one lovely lady who lives nowhere near me, and she's in a place called Fareham near Portsmouth, and she's about to start her meetings in February. And yeah, the plan is to, you know, scale it UK wide. It's about passion and purpose. It's about collaboration over competition. It's about being kind and looking after one another. And they are genuinely all my business values. I have them written down.
So one of the things that really changed my business was business networking, because we were talking about the power of this business networking model and the fact that it can give you so much. So when I first started business networking, I tried a few out, some that really didn't suit me, and found one that did and absolutely loved it and made it my regular weekly thing to go to. And even though I was nervous, the more I went, the more relationships I built, the more people I got to know, the more my confidence built, the more the belief was built in my business, the more I learned how to do a 60-second pitch and how to talk about my business without waffling and boring everyone to tears, and how to build these relationships and all these things. But it also gave me that ability to do the guest speaking slots when I was ready. I remember the first time that I was asked to do one, I was terrified. So there's no way I'm doing that. No way am I standing up for 15, 20 minutes to speak. Not a chance. Anyway, they kind of pushed me into it and I did it. And I was terrified, but actually it massively showcased me and my business. And I loved it, really loved it. Loved it so much that I did others in different areas of the company, because it was like they did them all over my town. But then I started by doing that, by building up more confidence and self-belief, and eventually had enough confidence and self-belief to set up this business, the Direct Selling Success, which I would never have done. There's no way I would have been training people, you know, 10 years ago before I did the business networking at all. It totally changed my life and built my business and built my confidence. And that, I think, is the bit that people forget. They don't think about that self-development side of networking. I mean, it is just massive.
Yeah, there's so much to take from it, so many positives. The only negative I can think of is exactly what you've just said, you know, feeling scared at the thought of getting started. But you know, feeling scared is good sometimes. My husband said it makes you feel alive, and it's true. You know, it pushes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you, you know, the endorphin rush that you get after you've done something that you're really scared of doing. You know, you can't put a price on it. You know, the high that you get, a natural high from putting yourself out there, stepping out of your comfort zone, and coming away from that and going, what did I just do? That's amazing. You know, and and keeping hold of that memory. Next time you feel scared about doing anything, remember that you've done things that have made you scared in the past, and you can do them again. And everything, you can take a lesson from absolutely everything that you do, and it's all a huge learning curve, and a very exciting one. So yes, go network, go forth and network, ladies.
And on that note, we will say goodbye. Thank you so much for coming on and being my guest on my podcast this week. And where can everybody find you before we disappear?
Of course, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. So you can find the Sisterhood Networking Group on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so you can keep up to date with all our news and info on there. Each area has its own private Facebook group. So if you're local to South Essex, you're local to Thurrock, or you're local to Fareham, they're the 3 that are currently set up. And then I'm sure as the year goes on, there'll be more popping up as well.
Thank you so much for that. I shall see you soon.
Thanks, Anna. Bye.